Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me once again as we look to the horizon. And this is the promised New Year's resolution writing vlog. So, what do I want to resolve to do this year? And the obvious thing to say here would probably be finish Burning Bright and actually get it out. But since that was a resolution from last year, I don't think I want to put it on my list this year. It is definitely something that I want to get done, but I want to put some new resolutions in here to focus on and keep the look of the channel going forward rather than looking back. And so I am going to continue to bring you updates on that process. It is getting very close to being done, but that is not what I want this video to be about. So 3 things that I want to accomplish this year, and I want these to be pretty high goals. So what can we do? Well, as you know, I have been writing short stories for the Iron Age Media website, and I have been doing okay with those. In fact, I won an editor's pick for the November submissions, and you can find that link down below if you're curious about it. But I want to win at least one of the competitions this year based on reader voting, and that is a much bigger hurdle. An editorial pick just means you have to impress one person. But with the voting, you actually have to get the public to read your story and then impress them with it. And that can be an entirely different ask. Many people read fiction while on break at work, and they just have a short amount of time in the week when they really spend on it. And whether they want to go through the submissions to a contest or not is entirely up to them. So it can be difficult to get the attention of people. You usually just get a small dedicated fan base in there, and many of them will only read the authors they're familiar with and maybe the ones who win on voting or as an editor's pick. And that is a challenge and a hurdle, but it is an appealing one because it means you are getting into fresh audiences and getting new people to look at your work. So my first New Year's resolution is to win at least one of the audience voting contests at Iron Age Media this year. That means I have 12 shots, and it is going to be kind of tough. But I think it's something I am capable of with enough work. And that is going to be my first New Year's resolution. What is my second New Year's resolution? Well, I think that something I really want to do is I want to find more ways where I can get my fiction from my blog out in front of people. I have always made it a long-term goal to take some of what I've done there and publish it. And I don't know if traditional publishing through Amazon or something like that is one of the best ways to go about it. So what my goal for this year is to look into some of the other places where fiction is published on the internet. I'm currently thinking about Royal Road right now and see what it takes to submit there and potentially submit something I have already written for publication there and see how that fares. I know some people who have done Royal Road for years have met with no success, and some people start there and it just takes off in a matter of a few months. It's largely a matter of finding something that appeals to the communities there. So I'm going to have to do some research before getting too deeply into that. But keep your eyes on this space for more information on that. Right now, I'm thinking the best way to go may be to publish something a little bit older, like The Face of the Clockworker, and see how that fares before I get too deep into the weeds there. I also, of course, have to look at the legal agreements you sign and all that other stuff and see if I can even republish something that I've posted elsewhere. These are the ticky-tack things that you have to line up and make sure all your ducks are in a row before you tackle something like that. My third goal, as is generally the case, is related more to writing about writing. And as you may recall, last year I had a goal to do a series on collaboration, and I found that maybe I'm not the right person to write that series last year. So this year I want to set my expectations a little bit lower and not tackle such a wide-ranging concept. This year, I'm thinking I want to write a series on how to build a story from idea to final execution, and kind of lay out the creative process. And I think that would be, I mean, obviously you do these things in part so that other people can see your technique and benefit from it. But I have never actually laid out my technique step by step by step before. And although it changes a little bit every time I write a story, I think looking at it from beginning to end with a very analytical eye may help me improve my own process as much as it helps other people develop their processes. This is, of course, always the benefit of a writer laying out their thoughts in writing. It really lets you take your strongest set of skills and apply them to whatever idea is currently bubbling in the back of your mind. That helps you straighten everything out, hammer out flaws, come to realizations you may not have consciously recognized from the ideas you were playing with. And these are very important parts of looking at any kind of technique, really. It doesn't have to be your writing technique. You can be writing about any other kind of technique or any other situation in your life. So I want to apply this specifically to the way I craft stories and see if there are any revelations I get from that. And hopefully other people will also find that discussion useful as they look at stories themselves. I have some thoughts about how I want to structure that already in mind, talking about, the steps that I do, but also the kinds of techniques I use, the kind of rules of thumb that I keep in mind. And I hope that laying all of that out will give me a more deliberate sense of how I craft a story, because all of the best stories are crafted very deliberately. Even if they may look haphazard, every step along that somewhat winding trail is always made with a great deal of intent behind it. So I think writing that series will really help me refine and perfect my own input to the craft. So those are my resolutions for the year. 3 things that I want to accomplish and that I think will be at least reasonably difficult to do. I know that it is always a hurdle looking at new publishing platforms and growing your audience. And the kind of self-reflection that comes with writing about your own processes, well, it's not always flattering. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that's what I have before me for this year. When you combine that with my video on hazards for the year, which I published on my General Culture Talk channel, I think you have a pretty good idea of what I have before me for the year. And hopefully that is informative to you and helps you put together some ideas for the future as well. If not, well, thank you for your time anyway. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. There's a like button and a subscribe button down there. You can use those as you see fit, and I'll talk to you later.